Good morning, I'm 81 Williams. Today I will be giving training on how we perform borescope inspections. Borescope inspections can be done for a few reasons. We perform them for scheduled maintenance, unscheduled maintenance, mishaps, or FOD inspections. Performing borescope inspections helps to determine the internal condition of the engine without having to remove the engine from an aircraft or having to disassemble the engine. Before starting the borescope inspection, remember to have MDART with you following step by step to prevent damage to equipment or injury to personnel. Here are the borescope port locations from the port side of the engine. First up, we have the 7:30 o'clock forward fan position. Then we have the 8:30 o'clock mid-frame position. Next, we have the 8 o'clock outer bypass duct position. Now we have the 6 o'clock turbine section position. And then finally the 6 o'clock afterburner port location. Here are the borescope port locations from the starboard side of the engine. First up, we have the 4:30 o'clock aft fan position. Then we have the 3:30 o'clock mid-frame position. Next up, the 4 o'clock outer bypass duct position. And then finally, the 5 o'clock main igniter port position. We have our borescope case and the equipment inside of the borescope case. For the borescope inspection, we'll be using the borescope, the gripper, and the rigidizer. To operate the borescope, we would push and hold the power button until the image on the LCD screen appears. Now for the handset controls are made up of the joystick and 5 key buttons. The joystick controls movement of the articulating section of the insertion tube and is used to point the viewing tip where needed. The freeze/enter key is used for freezing or saving an image on the LCD screen and for selecting options on the screen. Pressing the steering control key activates the articulation lock for holding the viewing tip in the direction selected with the joystick. When activated, a lock icon appears on the LCD screen. Pressing the key again releases the lock. Pressing and holding the steering control key activates the home function, which straightens the probe back to a neutral position. Okay, so to change a borescope tip, you will simply twist the tip to the left and remove completely. Be sure to store it back in the port that it goes in, and then get the new tip and simply push down and twist to the right. Reasons to change a tip would be to view an inspection area at different angles, either being a direct view, a side view, near focus or far focus, or to make measurements of a specific area. Okay, normally we will come in through a borescope port, but for training purposes, we will give you a visual of what it looks like to come in through a borescope port. The top half of the engine has been removed for training purposes. Now, during the inspection of the fan section, we're coming in at the 7:30 o'clock position, which will show you the trailing edge of the first stage fan blades and the leading edge of the second stage fan blades. After you get a good look at both the trailing edge and the leading edge, then you will move to the next port, which would be the 4:30 o'clock position, getting a look at the trailing edge of the second stage fan blades and the leading edge of the third stage fan blades. Before beginning the borescope inspection, we will need to fully open the FVGs and the CVGs, which are the fan variable geometry actuators and the compressor variable geometry actuator. The purpose of ensuring that the CVG actuator is fully closed is that when we borescope through the mid-frame port, looking aft, we will be able to fully inspect the first stage compressor blades. Before starting the inspection, remember to mark a blade to ensure a full rotation of the fan has been completed. Now that the engine is prepared for inspection, we can begin by removing the borescope plugs and inserting the borescope tip. All right, go ahead and spin. You need at least 2 people to perform a borescope inspection. One person to hold the borescope and inspect, and a second person to spin the blades or the PTS.
A lot of people would just borescope once through the mid-frame adapter, and they're either looking at the first stage of the compressor or the third stage of the fan, but if you follow the instruction, it tells you to look for both, so you have to look both forward and aft.
During a borescope inspection, we inspect for cracks, jagged edges, tears, nicks, scratches, dents, pits, discoloration, or curling. You're pretty much inspecting all the blades and everything inside for any defects. Again, you will need at least 2 people to perform a borescope inspection. You will need somebody doing the inspection, and you will need a second person to go back and forth between spinning the PTS or the fan. After completing the borescope inspection, remember to follow MDART and get the proper torque for the borescope plugs. The borescope plug in the video has a torque of 350 inch-pounds. After torquing, remember to install the retainer clip. In this video, we talked about following MDART step-by-step throughout this procedure. We talked about borescope port locations. We talked about the equipment usage, and we talked about borescope plug torques. Thank you for watching. This has been a CNATU Oceana PAO production.
Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to fill out the survey down below in the comments section and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also feel free to leave comments there.